Call to order the Siloam Springs Board of Directors meeting for August 6th, 2024. Roll call.
Carol.
Here.
Allen.
Where's Alan?
Here somewhere.
He's here somewhere.
Bristler.
Here.
Hunt.
Here.
Wiles.
Here.
Long.
Here.
Blair.
Here.
With that, we will move on with our agenda. Next is our prayer, which Director Blair will be leading us. And if I could ask you all to please stand while we are having the prayer. After that, please remain standing, and we are going to have the members of our Constitution Camp come forward and lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. And then they have a little presentation that they are going to do for us. So thank you very much.
Dear Lord, thank you for the opportunity to gather here and to serve the citizens of this city. Thank you for the children who are here. Help us to make good decisions in everything we do. Thank you for our new fire chief. Bless and watch over him, and bless and watch over all our first responders. Help us to make good decisions in everything we do, that we may glorify you in all of our choices. Amen.
Okay, kids, if you'll come forward. And Arthur?
All right, Madam Mayor, City Board, I'd like all the kids that were a part of the Constitution Camp that feel comfortable with it to stand maybe in front of the podium, and we're going to lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. There's several here. Maybe they're still coming in. So the flag is actually over there. So if you kids want to turn around and face the flag, and what we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then any kids who would like to do the preamble will do that too. So I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, before we get started.
You may be seated.
Yes, and they may want to say some preamble too. So if
Absolutely,
you-
yes.
If
We
you
are waiting.
campers
Hey,
would
come up here.
actually be right there, that would be fantastic. I want you to know it was a complete joy to work with the students and the many, many volunteers. Got a thumb up right there. We learned a lot about the Constitution, and they also did a resolution, which they all signed, kind of like the Declaration of Independence, which we'll sign here in just a minute. We'll read the resolution. Then I guess the mayor and the city board will officially make it official. But just, the kids were incredible, the volunteers were incredible, and just the speed with which they learn things like the resolution, the Constitution, it was beyond beautiful. So, any children, would y'all like to do the preamble? And if you kind of face the board, I think that way people can see your face maybe a little better. So you want to face this way? Tell you what, let's go here. Who wants to do it first? You want to do it first? Okay, let's come here and we'll turn around, we'll face that way. Okay. And preamble.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessing of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Great job. Would you like to try?
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and ensure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
All right, fantastic. Okay, you guys see how just incredibly talented and intelligent these young people are. And it was a beautiful thing. It was a fantastic camp. About 90 to 94 students were there. It was fantastic. And then they had an election. And like many elections we have in our city, in our state, in our country, it was a very close election, very important election. And we believe in complete transparency for election results. So the thing that was so important we're voting on was the official candy of Siloam Springs. But for full transparency of the election results, Kit Kat won with 18 votes. And then we had Reese's Peanut Butter Cups with 15, Sour Skittles at 14, M&M's at 7, Snickers at 3, and then a personal favorite of mine that I recommended for write-in votes was Butterfinger, and it got 7. So Kit Kat is the official candy.
What was the first one, Arthur?
Kit Kat.
Kit Kat.
Kit Kat, that's right. So Reese's are better.
So is Kit Kat the winner?
Yeah, Kit Kat is the winner. And they have a resolution that basically I'll read for us, and then it'll go, obviously, for the mayor and for the city board to decide if they would like to adopt this resolution. But they've already preemptively signed this, so I'm not saying y'all have any pressure to sign this, but all these parents are voters, and y'all may need those one day. And there will be candy in the back of the room for anyone that would like some on the way out. We figured we would not do it here out of respect for the room here. All right, so I'm going to read this. Resolution number CC24. A resolution identifying Siloam Springs' official favorite candy as defined by Constitution Camp NWA. Whereas, I like that, Constitution Camp NWA convened in August 2024 in the state of Arkansas, a state as defined by the U.S. Constitution as a republic form of government, and whereas the young citizens took part in a democracy vote, and whereas in accordance with Amendment 51, Section 12 of the Arkansas State Constitution, all participants provided proper identification. We actually had poll watchers and identification. And whereas in accordance with ACA 7-7-308, election official marked next to the voter's name on the voter registration list the election in which the voter chose to vote, and whereas the official result recognized Kit Kat, spoiler alert, Kit Kat as the official favorite candy of Siloam Springs by Constitution Camp NWA. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors for the City of Siloam Springs, Arkansas, that the City Board of Directors accept the vote from Constitution Camp NWA identifying Siloam Springs' official candy as Kit Kat. Done and resolved this 6th day of August, 2024. Respectfully submitted. The board can officially vote, and the mayor can sign this later.
There you go. Perfect. So, board, you have been presented with a resolution that has been duly voted on, and there has been an official vote that says that Kit Kat is the official candy of Siloam Springs. So I would like to have a vote from each of you that we support that choice. So would we have a roll call, please?
Blair.
Yes.
Long.
I like Snickers. Yes.
Wiles.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Be it duly noted that the Board of Directors supports the adoption of Kit Kat as our official candy.
And what about our favorite cake? Is that next?
That's not
next,
on
right?
there, sorry. Thank you all. Thank you so much, Arthur, and kids, thank you. You know, I'm always so proud of our kids whenever they step up and they are willing to participate in something like the Constitution Camp, whenever they are coming to our board meetings and they are participating and being a part of the process. I always remind people that these kids are our future. These are the ones that will be leading Siloam Springs in years to come. So we are so very proud of you kids. Thank you for being here, and thank you for going to Constitution Camp. And so with that, we will move into our agenda. We are going to change that around just a little bit. We are going to have our presentation first. And Arthur, I will turn that over to you. I'm sorry.
Hired
What if I
already.
call you a new name? Is that okay, Alan? Arthur.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, let's start with the, if you want, Chief Miller. I knew I saw you somewhere, so crowd, or I'm sorry, Chief Spicer. If you want to come up and recognize the SROs, let's do that first. And we've moved it around a little bit, board, just because I need to get staff back on the road working, so we're trying to move it up as quick as possible.
I have to put my glasses on first.
You have your assistant administrator, I've got. Madam Mayor, Board, Derek Spicer, Deputy Chief, Silent Springs Police. Before I introduce, can you hear me? Before I introduce these young men, one thing I will say is I think the city, the board, the mayor, the school administration, the entire district have worked so hard for so many years to build such an amazing relationship between our SRO program, the school, and our city. You know, going back to, Sergeant Sally, Sergeant Bland now, Sergeant Bartley, we take such pride in that when you go to the conference they go to every year, that one of the things that gets said is, I don't know what you guys are doing, but you're doing it right. And they get questioned all the time about how we're doing things. And that's not just our SRO group, that's our police department as a whole, but specifically at the conference, the SROs and how we do things. And this year, we've added 2 new members, and I'll ask these 2 to stand. The first one, to my left, Officer Francisco Bonilla. He worked part-time for us for a little while. He comes to us from Elm Springs. He's got 9 years of experience, and we're happy to welcome him. He'll go into the SRO program once the school season starts, and we're just really glad to have him. When we had him as a part-time officer, he was a hard worker, he was very dedicated, he treated people right, and we're proud to have him now full-time as an SRO. Our second is Officer Underwood. He comes to us from the Greenland Public Schools Police Department, where he served as an SRO. So he has years of experience as an SRO. He was also a keynote speaker at the SRO conference this year, and I believe he's got 14 years of experience. So these 2 fine gentlemen are going to be serving in your schools this year, watching over the kids and the staff, and we have the utmost faith in them, and it's my honor to introduce them, and I know that they will continue to carry on this great reputation that the Siloam Springs SRO program has. And it doesn't start with me or Chief Miller or Captain Fine, or it's built by all of the SROs that have served in years past and are currently serving. We have such a strong SRO team, and I encourage you, if you haven't met them, if you haven't gone to a school to meet them, do that. They are special individuals and deserve our utmost respect. So Officer Bonilla, Officer Underwood, welcome. I have one more thing that I have to add, or Sergeant Bartley will absolutely whip my tail. The police department and Parks and Recreation are having the Aloha Dive-In movie event, and it is this Friday, August 9th. Starts at 7:30 p.m., and it's at the Aquatic Center, 1800 North Mount Olive. There's going to be giveaway gifts, games, food until it runs out. The movie that they're going to play is Lilo and Stitch, so there will be a movie. That will start once the sun goes down and you're able to see it and everybody can interact. But in the meantime, there'll be tug-of-war, cornhole, 3-legged races, potato sacks. There'll be giveaways. There'll be a beach photo backdrop. And again, food, hot dogs, chips, bottled water. SROs as well as other officers will be participating in this event as well as other members of the city. So that is this Friday. It starts at 7:30. So please, everybody come out. And if you can't stay, just come out and say hi and get you a free hot dog. Good.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you. And
And I think I heard Chief Spicer say that everybody's favorite word, the admission is free.
there you go,
So,
absolutely. And
Again, they
thank you,
worked really
gentlemen.
hard, so we're looking forward to that. Come out and support
Absolutely.
it.
And
Chief-
gentlemen,
Chief, I
welcome.
just-
Thank you for your
I
service.
wanted to tell you, I've already had interaction with Officer Bonilla, and he is a professional. I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but I am glad that we are bringing such great professionals. You can't help but feel sorry for these cities to lose them, but we are the one benefiting. Our city's the one benefiting from their professionalism and their experience. And it just seems to keep going with us bringing in more and more people that are very experienced. And attitude. Attitude's everything. And every officer, staff, police, they always have the best attitude, and we appreciate it.
Thank you for that. And to your point, it absolutely does take a special person to be a school resource officer. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't make it a day. But it takes a very special individual to be a school resource officer, and we have some of the best.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next thing, Madam Mayor, it's, I think my secret is leaked out by everyone in this room. Chief Dunstan Kendall joined the Silent Springs Fire Department in 2005. Chief Kendall brings an extensive experience, having served in various capacities, including lieutenant, captain, fire prevention, and specialist, and was promoted to fire marshal in October of 2016. Chief Kendall is a licensed paramedic and holds numerous fire services certifications. He has completed law enforcement training and holds an associate's degree in fire science administration and technology. Chief Kendall serves as the executive board of the Arkansas Fire Marshals Association, along with fellow fire marshals statewide, to improve fire codes and safety standards for all residents. He started his fire service career as a volunteer firefighter in Oklahoma before moving to Arkansas. Interim Fire Chief Dunstan Kendall was named the interim fire chief on May 1st, 2024, after former Chief Kreiner announced his retirement in 2024. And just for note, we have not had an in-house fire chief since Jimmy Harris's retirement in 2011. He had served from 1998 to 2011. You know, when I named Dustin interim chief, I had worked with him when I was the police chief, and just his attitude and the way he just interacts with people is amazing. I think he's respected by his peers and firefighters and citizens and police officers. So he has just proven to me that he's who we're looking for, and I'm very excited, and it is my honor and privilege to appoint Dustan Kendall to the position of Chief of Fire of the Fire Department. Congratulations. Words. All day, I've kind of let him know on Friday this was coming on Monday, but I had to talk to the board and just to let them know it was coming. And this day, he said, "Can I let my wife know?" I'm like, sure, but I kind of let it leak out because I wanted his staff. They mean a lot to me, and I mean that. Their morale and the things they do, you guys are the best, some of the best firefighters I've ever worked with, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Dustin.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you, all you guys on the back row there, and it means the world to me that you're here. It means the world to me that I get to help build this thing with you all, and I honestly am so excited for our future together. I have all the support of our department, and I'm honored to serve you guys. So thank you very much. Board, thank you for your trust. Mr. Administrator, thank you for your trust, and we won't let you down. Thank you again.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
Well, y'all got to get back to work.
can we get a
I'm
5-minute
teasing.
break and let?
Thank you, guys.
Can we have a 5-minute break and let them say goodbye to them? And
Sure. Do y'all have something that y'all want to say? Oh, okay, about clearing the room? Okay, yeah. We'll take a short recess while we allow these guys to dismiss. There we are. So we will come back to order. And moving on, the first item now is our public input time. I would ask if there is anyone here that would like to address the board on any item that is not on our regular agenda. And there is not. So do I have anyone here that would like to address the board on an item that is on our consent agenda tonight? And there is none. So with that, we will move. Before we go into our consent agenda, we are going to move around a little bit too. Christina is going to go ahead and do the financials for us. She's having some back issues, so we're going to let her do that and let her get home so she can get comfortable. So Christina?
Madam Mayor, members of the board, Christina Patrichis, Finance Director. June financials were included in your agenda packet. And I'm not going to read statistics to you. I'm just going to want to give you kind of an overview of where we are today. So we're halfway through the year, and currently our revenues are averaging 48%. So that's good. And our expenses, excluding capital expenditures, are averaging 46%. So overall, the city's in good shape. Now, as I stated at the workshop, the sales tax is sitting at about 3.9%, and we budgeted 4%, so we're pretty close to target with that. But county sales tax, we're at 3% over prior year, and we budgeted 6%. Our 10-year average is 8%, but I was hoping 6 would be conservative enough. We're going to miss that one. And I think that's a pretty good indicator that people are tightening their belts and slowing their discretionary spending. So we'll keep an eye on what, happens with our revenue going forward. Regarding capital, 2 building projects were put on hold, the training center for PD and the renovations at the fire department. When they put their projects out for bid, those costs came in way higher, so inflation. And through June, we are on track to spend less than what was budgeted for capital. Although the supply chain for certain goods is improving, transformers and related hardware are still over 18 months. And the board's approval for the contract to buy transformers is allowing the city to provide electrical service on demand as development continues in our service territory. So that is a good thing. Finally, healthcare costs are within budget, and reinsurance reimbursements will offset recent major expenditures. So again, overall, we're in pretty good shape, and staff's available for questions.
Thank you, Christina. Alan?
Any questions for Christina while she's here? Anything about cash reserves, anything about financials? Be happy to ask.
Christina, you said the fire department project is on hold. What was the other one?
Police department, they were doing a training center.
Yep.
On that, directors, that we were looking at, I think it was like 2.5 million, and the price has just skyrocketed. So we decided to put that on hold to see what would, hopefully in the future, that will come back down, and we'll revisit those projects.
Mark?
I know you're in the middle of it, so on the overall calendar of the budget, this is weighing on all our minds. Are we ahead of schedule, do you think, on maybe having at least the close to finals of those done?
For the budget for next year? Actually, so I'll give you a little overview of the process and then kind of tell you where we're at. We send out workbooks to all the department heads, and then they get them back to me in July. So I've had time to put them together, and then we've started with the general fund, and we've made cuts enough to make it a legal budget, but we have not yet done streets or the utilities. So that's kind of where we're at in the process, and then once we get through that, then we decide if we are able to add anything back, or if we're going to allow for staff increases, for raises, that type of thing.
And one of the things we're looking at, directors, right now with the trends, Christina does a really good job of keeping an eye on that. In the trends, we're setting a budget. We're going to stay at 3%. We're going to set our budget at 3% just as a precaution. Right now, we have staff turning in a lot more needs. So Christina and I, and especially me, I'm going through and making a lot of cuts before I even look at the budget. And as we go forward, I can let you know what those cuts are, but there's a lot of personnel issues. But again, the way the trends are around the country, we just want to be safe. I mean, like I said, we have a good budget right now. We're in really good shape. We just want to make sure we're staying that course.
David?
Christina, I will say that I hope we can take as long as we need to, however many special meetings we need to get back to budgeting instead of just cramming it into one meeting. I mean, back in the day, we'd start in October and wouldn't get done till the end of November. And it was we just took a couple hours at each meeting to where every department was more than enough time. They were, you'd have 3 or 4 departments one night, and then 3 or 4 the next night, and then so you spread it out over 2 months, and it was just easier to ask them questions and really get a better feeling from the board as to where we are. So I hope we can spend enough time on it this year compared to last year.
In
Thank
the
you.
plan right now, directors, Christina and I are finishing up the budget. We'll have a meeting or 2 this week. Then we'll meet with our directors. Hopefully, we will finish what we need to do in August, and then we will have the month of September and probably the first meeting in October to discuss the budget. My plan is to hopefully get the budget approved by the second meeting in October, but we'll have as many special call meetings that we need, but that should give us 6 or 7 weeks to run everything by the board.
If I can pigtail off the back of David here, back in the day, we did take quite a bit longer, and one of the things that I really liked then was, and you just mentioned it, the departments ask for things and you cut them. I liked it that they would tell us what. At least we know what the wish list is, and we know what we're cutting, or more in line with, well, can we do that in 3 years? Or can we make a 5-year, So we would discuss that quite a bit in those meetings, and it was awful nice at least to know what the department heads were seeing that they would like. Just a thought.
And you'll also get the opportunity to talk to each board or each department head. They'll be in front of you to ask them questions of their needs. They'll be able to answer the questions on their proposed budget. But again, the bottom line, we have to get it to a workable budget. And, we're trying to include a raise for the employees, which I think is very important because they're feeling the crunch of everything going on around the country. And so again, we will do our due diligence to make sure you have plenty of opportunity to discuss the budget. It really does, I would like to have, if we have to have meetings, as many as possible, but I would really like to get this done in October, just as I've told some board members that worked for us last year. In the past, we've waited till November, sometimes December, and they don't know if their budgets are approved, so they can't order anything. Last year, we got the budget approved in October. They could start ordering because they knew their budget was there, but sitting on January 1, we were full steam ahead. That's why I'd like to continue that trend.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Christina. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Christina.
So with that, we will move to our consent agenda. Item A, regular meeting minutes, July 16, 2024. Item B, memorandum of understanding, Siloam Springs School District, School Resource Officers, Police Department, $325,467.04. Directors, is there anything that you would like to have pulled for separate consideration?
Can I make a comment?
Yes, yes, sir.
I have been addressed by people who have asked the question why we don't even talk about these things. And I would like to say publicly that we have a pre-agenda meeting, and we have an administrator that fills my head full of information. And this is basically, we're sharing with the school like we always have, and it's just stating the amount that we're sharing. So the reason we don't, well, I'm not speaking for anyone, but the reason it doesn't get talked about is because it's been talked about kind of endlessly to these people. So just letting you know.
Thank you, Mark. So with that, directors, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call.
Allen,
Yes.
Bristler,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Long,
Yes?
Blair,
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Next is the disposal service agreement with Public Services Department for Sanitation Division, Covanta. Jason?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Board. So like I said last week in the pre-agenda meeting, what this is just allowing us to dispose of certain waste to Covanta, so these other companies can go with a zero landfill. So we're here to present that to you, and if staff's here for any questions that you may have.
Madam Mayor, if I may, just for just the board knows, we are starting to get a lot of requests from a lot of the bigger companies because they're getting a lot of different rebates and cuts on going green. So again, this is important to know what Cabana is charging us, where we know what to charge them. And again, we've already have 2 or 3 companies, and we're going to have more requesting because they're going green. So if you want to touch on that, if they have a question.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of them are getting the zero landfill, going green, and the only way for us to be able to help out some of these companies is to haul some of the waste out of town to the Tulsa area. And so,
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Mindy?
so we will pass along the cost to the companies?
That will be no cost to our citizens. That cost will be totally absorbed by the companies
The
requesting
companies
that.
that
it's a
are
higher
requesting.
rate. They will be paying a different rate than the other companies, yes, ma'am. And we've already explained that to them, and they understand that.
It'll be a source of revenue, generating revenue.
Anyone else? Not? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make a comment on the disposal service agreement? There's not. Do I have a motion to approve the agreement with with Covanta?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Rissler,
Yes.
Hunt,
I'm sorry, yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Long,
Yes?
Blair,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Justin. Next is ordinance 24-23, third reading, amending section 102-21 of the City Municipal Code, rezoning from I-1 to PD 2200 Highway 16. Chris?
If I can get IT to, thank you. Okay, this is just a recap board summary. This is to rezone 5.96 acres from I-1 to PD, planned development, as well as to amend the housing density cap on the existing PD zone lot. This will reduce the overall density of the property while increasing the total dwelling unit count. They do that by expanding the property a little bit further to the south. This went through the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission recommended approval and was in favor primarily due to the street extension along East Quarter Road. During the first and second readings, the board did express some favor in the Quarter Road extension. Some board members were also concerned about the industrial property and expansion of the multifamily. There have been no changes since the agenda session, and staff is available for additional questions as needed, and staff recommends approval of the approval.
Thank you, Chris. Directors, comments or questions? There being none, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address ordinance 24-23? There is no one. So directors, do I have a motion to place ordinance 24-23 on its third and final reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hunt,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Long,
No?
Blair,
No.
Carroll,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Alan?
Ordinance number 24-23, an ordinance amending section 102-21 of the Siloam Springs Municipal Code, city zoning map, rezoning from I-1 to PD, property located at 2200 Highway 16, amending the future land use map of Siloam Springs 2040 Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I make
Yes.
a motion, we adopt ordinance 24-23.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Roll call.
Wiles,
Yes.
Long,
No?
Blair,
No.
Carroll,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Motion to adopt is approved. Next is ordinance 24-24, second reading, amending section 102-21 of the City Municipal Code, zoning annexation election territory to A1 agriculture.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
If I may, Chris, just the board that are in the audience that hadn't seen the format that we're using, going forward, I really appreciate the work Chris and his staff have done on that. In the future, the next meetings, you should, on everything on the agenda, you will see a slide that gives you a summary and bullet points of everything that we have going on. It just refreshes you and reminds you of what we've talked in previous meetings. So we hope this will make it easier on you.
Chris?
And on that note, it was probably important to say that there was an agenda items that had switched some of the agenda items, so you may see agenda item F. These are just some of the bugs that we'll have to work out through this new system, but next time we'll make sure that the agenda items on the slides match the agenda items on the final version of the agenda.
Gonna have to get bigger fonts for me.
Yes. So for this project location affects all of the 2024 election by annexation properties. This is project description. By default, annexations in the city of Siloam Springs are coming into the city as R2. However, it is beneficial to bring these specific annexation by election properties in as A1 agricultural. This ordinance will amend the default and bring all lands in as A1 agricultural. Existing land uses will be grandfathered. For example, if a land is being used as commercial, it will be allowed to continue as commercial until there's a lapse in the current use. The Planning Commission viewed this item and recommends approval. There have been no changes since the first reading, and staff is available for additional questions as needed. Staff still continues to recommend moving this through to the third and final reading.
Thank you, Chris. Directors, comments or questions? There being none, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address ordinance 24-24? There is not, so I will ask directors if you would like to place ordinance 24-24 on its second, and third reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to place on second and third reading. Roll call.
Is there a reason we're doing second and third?
Alan?
Kevin, where did that submission come in for second and third reading? I know I got an email. I can't remember if that was from Megan or you requesting a second and third reading.
I believe that's a different project. This is on its third reading. It had its second reading at the July 16th board meeting, and its first reading was on, I believe, July 2nd is what I have.
That is correct.
So this is the
Just-
set.
That says second, but it's our
It
third.
says second.
The zoning election to A1?
Sorry, I thought we were talking about the PD.
This is the annexation territory rezoning.
That I don't.
The timeline?
I believe what we were attempting to do, Mayor, is to try to catch this up with the ordinance so we can go ahead and move forward with the annexation process and we can move on to our next step. And it's totally at the will of the board, whether or not you want to hear this one additional time, see if we have any additional input. It would not necessarily negatively impact staff's timeline. This was essentially just to go ahead and move forward with the annexation.
Together.
Yes.
Okay.
This is not necessary or requested by a member of the public. I would rather we only do a second reading simply because there are the public still affected by the future annexation, and if they wish to have something to say about it, they can say something.
So, David, would you like to make a motion that we place this on its second reading?
Yes,
Madam
ma'am,
Mayor,
I do.
you've already got a first and second on the floor.
I can
Do have a-
withdraw.
She withdraws, and we did not have a second.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
Did
there's
you?
a second.
Okay. So, they have been withdrawn. David?
I make a motion that we approve, or that we place ordinance 2424 on its second reading, suspending the rules and reading title only.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. Yes.
Madam Mayor.
Mark?
This looks confusing, but I want the public to know, we've already voted to go to election for the annexation. That's already happened. What we're doing here is we're assuring the people that we have to zone these areas, and we're saying that we're going to make it the safest zone and that we're grandfather in if they have businesses. We do not want to adversely affect anyone inside this area with our zoning. Now, in the future, if they request or things change, I'm not saying we'll never do it, but at this point, we are trying to protect everybody that's already there. So we're not voting again for the annexation. What we're doing is trying to make it clear to the owners that live out there that we are not adversely affecting anything, and they're grandfathered in if they have a business as it exists. So I normally am against second and third, and I agree with David on that particular. But even if we did, we're not doing the annexation. We're literally just protecting the existing owners. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And that is correct. Thank you. So we have a motion and a second for the second reading. Roll call.
Blair,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Long.
Yes?
Motion is approved. Alan?
Ordinance number 24-24, an ordinance amending the section 102-21 of the Siloam Springs Municipal Code, city zoning map, zoning from A1 agriculture, property located within the described annexation territory of the city of Siloam Springs, Arkansas.
Thank you. Next is ordinance 24-25, second reading, annexation of 1.3 acres, 3201 and 3203 Kenwood Street. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the 3201, 3203 East Kenwood Street project that is to final plat Phase 3 of the Somerset subdivision consisting of 6 family residential lots situated on 1.3 acres. Annexation is required condition for the development being adjacent to properties already within the city of Siloam Springs. The Planning Commission was previously informed of this request, and there have been no changes since the agenda session, and staff is available for additional questions as needed. And I do notice that it states that the staff recommends moving this item on the third and final reading on this. Megan, can you verify?
Yes, this is the project that they sent the email requesting to combine on.
And that was the owner?
That was requested by the owner, that's correct.
The owner. Okay, thank you.
Did we delay them?
I do not believe that
Madam
we
Mayor,
delayed them.
The, Kevin
Yes.
Moore, city engineer, the resolution for the plat is later on this same agenda, so it would keep it in line. They would go concurrently if you combined readings tonight.
I see that's item K, looks like. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. The final plat for Somerset Phase 3 is
Gotcha.
item K as a resolution later.
Okay.
What was the email request for, to request both second and third? What was their reason?
I believe that was just to allow them to go concurrently.
I can't hear you, Chris.
I believe that was just to allow the annexation request and the item K, the final plat development permit, to go concurrently, so they could move to development.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Mark.
So the public knows what we're doing here. So sometimes it looks more confusing than it is. We're just annexing them, saying they're next to the city, we're just bringing them in the city. They want to come in the city, we're not adversely affecting them. This is a lot different than the other annexation. We are not voting, nobody's upset that we're annexing them. So if we do it in second, I'm normally against second, third readings, but this is literally, they want us, we want them. It's just, the process is 3 readings, and I almost always stick with that. But I don't have a problem, since the development is what, if someone was going to stand up and disagree or not like, that's what, and they've had 3 readings, so.
Madam Mayor?
Thank you, David.
But Chris, it seems like the final plat development permit was only added because it was assumed we were going to vote for second, third reading tonight. Wouldn't that final plat not have been put on until the next meeting normally?
I believe that Kevin Moore can answer more on this. He was working a little bit closer with this specific project.
Absolutely. So the timelines for those things are different between the annexation and the final plat. So annexation has to go through the county judge as well before it comes to city, and then it's sent to the city. So they have a little bit less control over when that appears in our process. But the final plat, it does have the annexation as a condition of approval if the board chooses not to do all 3 readings for the annexation.
Thank you, Kevin. Anyone else? Not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address ordinance 24-25? There is not. So directors, after we have heard that this is requested by the owner, do I have a motion to place this on its second and third reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Carol,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Long,
Yes?
Blair.
Yes.
Motion is approved for the second and third reading. Alan?
Ordinance number 24-25, ordinance accepting the annexation of certain territory described as 3201 and 3203 Kenwood Street to the city of Siloam Springs, Arkansas, and assigning said to award.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 24-25?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Roll call.
Allen,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Long,
Yes?
Blair,
Yes.
Carol.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 24-25 is adopted. Next is ordinance 24-26, second reading, vacation of a utility easement, 4295 East Highway 412. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor. This is 4295 East Highway 412. The easements to be vacated include a 25-foot wide sewer and utility easement that runs north and south on Lot 1 and Lot 3, as well as a 20-foot wide sewer and utility easement that runs east and west on the east of Lot 1. You can see those easements I highlighted in yellow. The easements were established in the 2022 replat for airport subdivision. The easements are not needed by the city or by the private utility companies and are requested to be permanently closed. The Planning Commission was previously informed about this request. There have been no changes since the agenda session, and staff is available for additional questions as needed. And I also see that this states that it was being requested for the third reading. Can we verify that? So yes, the applicant has also requested this to go to the third and final reading, so staff recommends moving the item forward.
Thank you. Directors?
Why?
The applicant is present to, if you would like to speak to the applicant, then they would have the ability to express why. They just verbally requested this from our staff.
Yes, sir. Would you like to come to the podium? State your name and address, please.
Yes, my name's Don Rose, represent Jiffy Trip. And when we've already relocated those easements when we built the store, and this kind of an administrative type move to vacate the old ones that were existing before we developed that area. So the new sewers are in, and we did relocate and get the new easements set up. So these are mainly just leftovers that we're cleaning up at this time.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Directors?
Sounds like more of a housekeeping issue.
I believe
and
that's correct.
I will make a motion that we approve ordinance 2426 for its second and third reading. Oh, sorry.
Yep. We need to see if there's anyone in the public
Oh,
and
sorry.
the audience that would like to make a comment on this ordinance. And there is not, so I will come back to the board. David?
I'll make a motion, we place ordinance 2426 on its second and third reading, suspending the rules and reading title only.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to place on its second and third reading. Roll call.
Allen,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Long,
Yes?
Blair,
Yes.
Carol.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Alan?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
can I just make a recommendation? It seems like tonight was one where we've had several move to second and third reading the same night. And you've probably already thought about this, but under recommendation, maybe it would be helpful to tell us who's recommending and why.
I agree.
In your, okay, thank you.
We will make sure.
Sometimes it's staff and sometimes it's the requester.
Yeah, and I think each one is saying staff, but it's based on what they're hearing from the
Yeah.
requester. So maybe that would be helpful. And it sounds like you've already thought about that, so thank
We'll
you.
make sure we put that recommendation on the slide, as a bullet point.
And these slides are great, thank you.
Yeah. I really do like these. These are more housekeeping things. When, I mean, it's no-brainer, we didn't put it there, we're not gonna keep their easement. But I'm normally really against, because if somebody wants to stand up and speak, I don't want to rush through our processes in case they didn't make it tonight and was planning on coming to the third reading. And I'm just saying that normally I'm horribly against it. But when we're doing kind of housekeeping things that the public's not, has a problem with, then I have much less a problem. Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
And I
that's
just
it.
wanted to piggyback on that. I don't want people thinking this is going to become a habit and this is how we're doing things now. So, yeah.
Thank you all. Alan?
Ordinance number 24-26, an ordinance vacating and abandoning sewer easements at 4295 East Highway 412.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 24-26?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Roll call.
Bristler?
Yes.
Hunt?
Yes.
Wiles?
Yes.
Long?
Yes?
Blair?
Yes.
Carroll?
Yes.
Allen?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 24-26 is adopted. Next is ordinance 24-27, and along with that is resolution 34-24. They will be presented by Chris at the same time, each separately, and then we will vote on them separately. But because they are both on the same property, he's going to go ahead and do his presentation for both. So Chris?
Thank you, and I would point out that I said that there would be a few glitches in this new system. I think I just discovered one. At the bottom of this, you'll see it says staff recommends moving this item to its second reading. That's incorrect. So we will be more diligent about checking this for the future meetings and make sure that those are correct. We have project location as 23,006 Lawless Road. This will be to rezone Phase 3 of the Lawless Ranch Addition, consisting of 16.4 acres, the rezoned from R3 Residential 2-family to PD Plan Development, and creating 88 single-family attached lots. Under the current zoning, duplex development is permitted by right. The rezone will not change the built environment, and I think that that's one of the things on this project that we have heard from the public, is that they don't want this to be built. However, it is important to know, under the current zoning, it can be built by right as duplexes. This rezoning will split those into separate lots that will allow each side of the duplexes to be sold and privately maintained. This will only allow the individual units on the separate properties, allowing the units to be privately owned. The Planning Commission recommended approval as presented. There have been no changes since the agenda session, and staff is available for additional questions as needed, and staff recommends moving this item to its first reading.
Thank you, Chris. Directors, comments or questions?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I didn't make the pre-agenda. Chris, how in the world are you allowed to have two separate owners of one building that is split in two?
Absolutely. So you take the interior wall can, as long as it meets the fire codes, just the same as a regular duplex, as long as the property line is allowed on a 0 lot setback, then that property line can run straight down that structure, and it can be owned on one side by one property owner and on the other side by the other property owner. You may also be familiar with other types similar to this, where they have row homes where each person owns specific units in a row that may be attached. But that 0 setback line allows them to build all the way to the property line, and it's split at that point.
Do we have any duplexes in town now that are like this?
We have one other development that is like this, and I think that Kevin knows the name of that development.
But it's in operation.
It is in operation, I
Already.
believe.
I asked, Madam Mayor, I
Yes,
asked
Reed.
Ben that question last time, and he said it was just south of the Harvest over there on Progress.
Yes.
And I'm assuming that each half has its own legal description, so they can actually own.
That would be correct. Whenever you subdivide when you have a subdivision, each one's assigned a lot number, and you would be lot, fill in the blank of that subdivision would be your new legal description.
The rest of this Lawless Ranch that they're I mean, they're reaching this through the rest of the other already built, is what I'm trying to say. Are all of those single-family homes? They look like it overhead, but I'm not positive.
All duplexes.
Madam Mayor.
Those are all the ones that are already built, they're duplexes.
That's what you see on, Madam
Yeah.
Mayor.
that-
Yes.
That's what you see on the
Agreed.
southwest.
Yeah, the
portion there.
southwest section.
Evan, I believe you had a comment.
Yes, I was just going to state that those are already duplexes, but those are one duplex per lot instead
Right.
of one unit per lot like they're proposing.
But I mean, two renters,
Correct.
they're
Yes,
duplexes, but it's one.
from the road, you won't be able to
But
tell.
one
the difference.
owner of the building, basically. Okay. So the only difference in the red square that we're doing is that each one can be separately owned, even though it's one building. Okay.
Yes, that's exactly right. It'd be the difference in the ownership, not in the appearance in any way.
Alan?
If there's no other comment before you vote, Mayor, I just wanted for people that are seeing this for the first time, if you're seeing it's a first reading, and we usually do a full presentation. The reason we're not doing that is staff has already did a full presentation to the Planning Commission that's already recorded, and then we do another full presentation at the pre-agenda. So we're breaking it down, but we're always prepared to answer questions to make sure you're getting everything you need to make your decisions. But if anybody's watching, I wanted them to see why we weren't doing that in the first reading.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Chris.
Would you like me to continue with the second portion?
Yes, sir.
All right, the second portion of this was the resolution. This was to preliminary plat, that same portion. This would allow for that preliminary plat to be adopted by resolution, and that would be Resolution 33-34. And the presentations are identical. The difference is that there is a condition. The applicant must rezone the subject property prior to the construction. If the rezone were to fail, then the condition of approval would stop the resolution from moving forward.
Thank you, Chris.
They would have to rezone, that's part of the preliminary.
That is correct. The resolution is dependent upon the rezoning ordinance passing. And again, the built environment would be the same whether or not the preliminary plat moves forward, because the duplexes are allowed by right in the current zoning district.
Now, it doesn't matter that we've only got the first reading of the ordinance versus the preliminary resolution, does it?
It does. The resolution won't go into effect until the rezone is finalized and in force.
Yeah, but I'm saying it doesn't, like the preliminary plat resolution is not held up except for.
Except for that, would be
Yeah.
correct.
Anyone else?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Ken.
Chris, in the packet, we do have a letter from residents against this. Is this the only one that you've heard, or are there others that we just are not aware of?
I believe we've had one letter. I'm not sure if we've had any phone calls to staff regarding the complaints, but no one spoke to me directly about it. Megan?
I haven't received any phone calls, and Wade has not received any phone calls. I don't know about Ben, though.
Ken, is that
Yeah, thank you.
okay? Anyone else? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address ordinance 24-27?
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Ron Holmeyer, Civil Engineering. As they've been stating, this is going to look just like the rest of the duplexes out there because it is a duplex-style building. The only difference is it's on two separate lots with the middle of the two units on either side. It's a product that this market has very little of, and I think it'll be useful in that I've got friends in Springfield that live in one of these type homes. They own half of it and somebody else owns the other half, but it's their house. It's not a rental. And it's a product that we're trying to get brought into this market. And before tonight's discussion, I was asked to request that at the next meeting, y'all consider the second and third reading of the rezone, assuming that there are no problems or complaints between now and then. But since I don't really have a reason for that tonight, I'm going to just let you think about that until the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Can I
Is there
ask-
anyone else in the audience?
Can I ask Ron a question?
Yeah, hang on just a second.
Yes, sir. Ron Holmeyer.
Well, I was just wondering, you said you have friends who have this same type of situation. What do you do if, when you have two owners of one building, and there is something wrong with the roof that covers both? I mean, I've never seen a problem with one owner that lives in half and rents the other half. But I've never heard of something like this in one building having two owners, and so it's just strange to me that,
I'm gonna let
okay. You stated, Ron, this is new to the area, and so, even though there's something going on, this is looking like it's gonna happen more often, so.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Board. Zach Bates, Roush Goldman. So I know that our CCNRs and the covenants that are put in place have specific language to address the potential issues that you're speaking on. So I don't know what the specific language is, but I do know that it's something that we've looked into, we've done before, and there is language that addresses that.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience? If not, then I will come back to the directors. Betsy?
Madam Mayor, I lived in Kansas City for a while before I moved here, and one of the older areas in Kansas City where there's not much space and everything's crammed together, a lot of people share a garage, and it's the line down the middle, and one side will get dilapidated and look really crummy, and the other side will look really nice. And then there are fights and arguments, and it can go to court and be all kinds of problems, has been what I've seen, at least in Kansas City.
Thank you, Betsy. Anyone else, directors?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Reed.
I think we'll see less and less of that because I know insurance companies have taken a different stance on a roof and being able to insure. Used to be, they had allowed so many years, now they've cut back on it. I think it's 10 years or less. They do a proration on it, and they're getting a little more stickler on how dilapidated a roof can be, and they will still insure it. So I think as a community, as a nation, I think we're going to see that look better.
Thank you. Directors, anything else?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I know that in big cities that they have a building and there'll be 20 apartments in it and they all own it but I think there they have to put in X number of dollars a month for the insurance and for depreciation. But I don't know about how two would do it. I'm not even sure I know how they do it in the big cities. But I mean, it's just a problem, like if you have a neighbor that won't keep their fence up, I mean, it's the same kind of issue. Doesn't change, you can't stop people from being hateful. So I guess I don't think I have a problem with it, again, because, I have family members that live in Boston and they own one apartment in a building, but they have to pay monthly dues and/or fees for the potential of the, so I guess, I'm not certain how would that happen. I guess it could become an eyesore, but I can't imagine someone spending this kind of money and but it probably happens. But I'm not against it.
Thank you. Mark? Anything else, directors? Mindy?
I was just going to say, I think it's an opportunity for those who want to purchase their home to do so at possibly less cost than to get a single-family home. So I think it is sort of an opportunity for some more affordable housing options in town. So we've had a little bit of experience with this on a personal level, so that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Thank you. And with that, I will ask if I have a motion to place ordinance 24-27 on its first reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hunt.
Yes.
Wiles.
Yes.
Long.
Yes?
Blair.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes. Motion is approved. Alan?
Ordinance number 24-27, ordinance amending section 102-21 of the Siloam Springs Municipal Code, city zoning map, rezoning from R3 to PD, property located at 23006 Lawless Road.
Thank you, sir. With that, we will move to Resolution 34-24, the preliminary plat development permit for Lawless Ranch Addition, Phase 3, 23006 Lawless Road. Chris has given us his presentation. Directors, do you have any questions or comments for him? If there is none, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address Resolution 34-24? There is not. I will ask for a motion to approve Resolution 34-24.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call.
Wiles.
Yes.
Long.
Yes?
Blair.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Next is Resolution 35-24, preliminary plat development permit, Spring Hills Edition, 3500 block of East Kenwood Street. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor. This is to create the Spring Hills subdivision.
Those things he just listed in the ordinance, in the motion.
Okay, so let me ask for comments from the board
Oh,
first.
sorry, okay.
Comments or questions, directors? There being none, is there anyone in the audience that has comments or questions for this resolution? If not, Mark, I will come back to you. What is your motion, sir?
I make a motion that we adopt it with the restrictions, if it's already in this, if it's already in there, we don't have to list them out, but if they're not, with his restrictions in the motion.
With the listed conditions, is that
Yes.
correct?
Second.
So we have a motion and second. Roll call.
Long.
Yes?
Blair.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Wiles.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Next is Resolution 37-24, final plat development permit, Somerset subdivision, Phase 3, 3201 and 3203 East Kenwood Street. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the final plat, the Phase 3 of the Somerset subdivision, consisting of 6 single-family residential lots situated on 1.3 acres. You saw this one earlier for the annexation process. The Planning Commission recommended approval as presented by staff to the Planning Commission. There have been no changes since the agenda session, and staff is available for additional requests as needed. Staff recommends approval with the following conditions. The applicant must file this plat with Benton County Circuit Clerk's office and provide one filed copy to the city within 45 days of the board's acceptance of this plat. The applicant shall pay a fee in lieu of half-street improvements to Kenwood Street to be supplied by the agent and approved by the city engineer prior to building permit issuance. Also, each lot shall be graded to drain, matching a grading plan approved by the city prior to the building permit issuance.
Thank you, sir. Directors, comments or questions? There is none. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address Resolution 37-24? There being none, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 37-24 with listed conditions?
So
Moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Blair.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Wiles.
Yes.
Long.
Yes?
Motion is approved. Next is Resolution 38-24, Significant Development Permit, 15303 Highway 59. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor. This is an infill development at an existing storage facility. The use is grandfathered in and has continually been used for the land use proposed, and therefore does not require a separate special use permit that it would otherwise require. The Planning Commission recommended approval as presented. There have been no changes since the agenda session, and staff is available for additional questions as needed. Staff recommends approval with the following conditions. The applicant shall provide a building plan that shows either a one-way parking lane movement or removes parking on the north side of the northmost proposed structure of the final construction plans prior to the building permit issuance.
Thank you, sir. Directors, comments or questions?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, David?
this is already built now, but they're wanting more of the same buildings in the same vicinity.
That is correct. If you look at the red box, and then there's a small yellow box that says site, right underneath where it says site is an open square that's going to be where the infill development portion will be located.
Checking to make sure that this was already, part of it was already built.
Anyone else? Anyone in the audience that would like to address Resolution 38-24? There being none, I will ask for a motion to approve Resolution 38-24 with listed conditions.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Carol,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Long,
Yes?
Blair.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Chris. Next, we will move on to our administrator's report. Alan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We've already discussed the Jew financial, so I'll move on to my report. Have some expenditures to report. First one is not to exceed $56,000 with Equity Technical Services. Those are the inspection of our wood poles, the electric department. The second one is $42,800 for our Arc Omo tree service. Right-of-way clearing in the Country Acres, that's for electric department. And the last one is for $33,383.76 to Titan. That is the resupply for 8,000 gallons of jet fuel. And then just to let the board know, the airport will be closed beginning August 12th for approximately 30 days. Everybody at that's using the airport has been notified. This closure is for a mill and overlay of the runway, adding 4 feet to the runway, new LED lighting, and to fix a crack and fog ceiling to the runway. You've already heard about the drive-in movie. I'll just go over that again. That is Friday, August 7th at 7:30, the Family Aquatic Center. The movie Lilo and Stitch will be played and free admission, and they'll have a lot of games for the kids. And I would just like, a lot of times the board may not see the work that Jay and his firm do. And I just want to tell him how much I appreciate their hard work, because there's a lot of behind scenes that goes on daily in the way they're getting things back to us in a quick manner. Just their advice has been on. There's just a lot of things going on with the land sale and the easements and different things like that. And they have just been a pleasure to work with. So I just want to give them a big thank you. And just, they're doing a great job. And Kevin, if you don't mind, this is something I get phone calls daily. Could you give an update on Lake Francis to the board? I know I don't want to start a lot of conversation, but just to give you a quick update. It has been frustrating, and we're trying to get that done as quickly as possible.
Thank you. Kevin Moore, City Engineer. So yesterday was the last day under TriStar's contract, so I notified them that proceeding from here, they'll be under liquidated damages unless they have some sort of justifiable contract extension. There were some utility conflicts that they ran into last week, but those have been resolved as of today, and they should be able to return to work, to normal work. So their plan is to finish the excavation that they need to do to the Eliana Chacon Memorial Park. Should have that done by the end of this week, and then they'll be coming in for curb and gutter next week, and then prepping the site for asphalt. I would estimate probably 3 weeks to a month of remaining work, depending on weather and things like that, before we'll have that driving surface and everything more or less ready. And then at that point, we'll be looking at punch list items.
Thank you, Kevin. And that's the end of my report, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And I would just like to echo your thanks to our new law firm. Thank you, Jay, very much. Your advice and your guidance has been greatly appreciated, so thank you very much. With that, directors, I will come to you for your comments. David, we're going to start with you tonight and end with you, Mindy. So David, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I first want to just thank the staff for setting up a really nice send-off party for Director Carol Smiley this evening at 5 o'clock. Serving 20 years as an elected official was not even really covering everything Carol did for this city, and that she served on the hospital board of directors long before she got on the board, and she served on the planning commission before she ran for office. But one of the most important things that she did was set up a group called Tail Waggers that was the originator of helping look after lost animals, animals that are homeless, and it led to the current animal shelter we have now, which of course is 20 years old and needs to be upgraded. But we wouldn't have it if not for the care and kindness of people like Carol Smiley, who really were the impetus for that in the first place. So thank you, staff, for getting the, I guess it was called retirement, not really, but thank you party for this evening, and I really appreciate it. Congrats to our new fire chief. It was something I hadn't thought about until Alan brought it up, that our last promotion from within was Jimmy Harris. And he had come up through the ranks and was such a worthy choice to be made into, to be promoted to chief. And he had done it all. And so it's wonderful. I believe in promotion from within if possible, and so I appreciate Chief Dustin Kendall for taking the job and being willing to put up with the stress that comes with it. I want to say thank you to Lisa Rissler for the Constitution Camp. And of course, we saw the results of that at the beginning tonight, where the kids were able to recite the preamble. Very, very important for our children, the next generations, to learn the freedoms that they are given by, not just by God, but by our Constitution, and that our Constitution does relay those unalienable rights from God that are given to us. And so the Constitution Camp was a wonderful idea that Lisa worked very, very hard, had a lot of help from a lot of people, but it was thanks to her, and I appreciate that very much, Lisa. Huge success. I want to, and the Kit Kat idea was the candy thing was a great thing to bring as a, involvement here for, I think we may start a trend, and other cities may have their own official candy of Fayetteville and Springdale and Rogers.
Director Allen, just know if Director Rissler does ask you to speak, there's a chance you may have to dance. And I
saw the videos.
I do have videos of certain people that, some people have more moves than others, let's just say. So for a price, you may get that video for me.
I saw Senator Clint Penzo getting down and getting funky, and it was pretty cool. I also wanted to congratulations to our two new SRO officers. I was on the board in the 90s when we first started doing the SRO, and it was something that we all need to learn about, and it was a big success, and it has been something that children see and learn and grow to respect law enforcement at a young age and through high school, and it's a big difference for them to see that and appreciate and have someone that they trust. So it's a win-win for schools, for the city, for the citizens, and for parents and their children. So it's a big plus, and I appreciate it greatly. We were referring to earlier, I have been for 30-plus years against the reading of a second and third reading on anything, just because there is a reason to have an ordinance broken up over 3 separate meetings to be read. We do give in occasionally when it is like a housekeeping, or if it's something that does not look like there's going to be anything that will be argumentative from the public. 1, 2, and 3 altogether, never, not going to happen. We just don't do that. But we have been asked sometimes by developers to do 2 and 3 just because they don't want to come back to another meeting, and that's not a good enough reason. We have to have some other reason to be giving in on that. What was brought up, Alan, by you a moment ago on the, or maybe Kevin, I'm sorry, on the streets, the question I've had from the public to me is when and why did the city give 2 very important streets that needed completely rehashed to the same company? Why did TriStar, instead of 2 different companies, get to where they could work at the same time? It's been frustrating to see the problems that we can say, well, it's not something that the city's in control of, but we did give it both contracts for the 2 streets to one company. So I would like there to be some report to the board later as to when that was decided, why it was decided, et cetera, just so we can have some answer to give to the public that asks us. And I think that's all I have. Madam Mayor, thank you for doing everything on the Carol Smiley thing. It was wonderful.
Very nice.
And
Thank
she
you,
certainly
David.
deserved every recognition.
She certainly did, and there's a lot of people that
It
love
was a
her and respect her
packed
greatly.
house. It was really good. I told her she's
Yes.
got the biggest fan club in town, and it showed. It really showed.
It
Yeah.
absolutely did, yes. Thank you, David. Mark?
Nothing.
Thank you, sir. Reed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. School starts very soon, people. The whole world seems to change, even when you don't have children in school. It's quite amazing to me. One of the things that you may have seen happening around town is we're having a renovation of the JBU Cathedral. And I'm looking forward to when that's going to have their re-grand opening or whatever that's going to be. And I don't know if maybe you know something about that, Mindy, that
Not at this point.
whenever that has, it's going to be quite a deal. I look forward to seeing that. Chief Kendall, congratulations. I look forward to some good years of service. And I was very glad that we could celebrate Carol Smiley this evening for the service that she has given to this community. To me, it's quite amazing when people, they may have good jobs and they're doing just fine, and they choose to be part of this community and part of what's going on. And I believe that was Carol's choice. And to do that for that many years, that needs to be congratulated. And Chris, I do enjoy how you do the summary. I feel like that gives us good basis instead of just coming in here, reading it, we vote on it. Just because we have given full presentations, but to give a summary, I think is very helpful. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Reed. Lisa?
I want to say thank you to Carol Smiley for all the years of service. And I think Betsy and I will probably end up supporting her on the animal shelter fight. And so I think we both made it clear we appreciate everything she's done for the animal shelter. And I look forward to what we're going to do in the future. Congratulations to Chief Kendall. This Saturday is the prayer walk at 9 a.m. Laura McFarland is leading that up. She's doing the prayer walk for all the schools so we can pray around the schools and send our children off with prayer. I want to say, because of God, we were able to do an amazing camp. It was an amazing camp. We had Rebecca and Natalie and Ray there, and Arthur was the MC, and it was so fun. I don't want to tell on our senators and our state representatives, but Alan Gilbert was sweating bullets because if Robin Lundstrom didn't show up, 'cause if she didn't show up, he was going to be the backup speaker. And we didn't tell them till they walked in that there was a dance-off with the mascot. So when he seen that Clint Penzo did the worm
Twice.
across the state, yeah, twice, he was worried. But
I
Robin
was
did show
outside
up.
practicing my moves and I didn't have it.
Her flight showed up, so he was safe. And then Arthur was the best MC. He was amazing. And then we came over to City Hall the second day, and thank you to staff. It was amazing. We got a lot of compliments on what you guys did, the tour, explaining it, how our government works and what branch of government people work in. And then Chief Miller, if I could show the video, I so would, but I don't know if I have that much power here. So Chief Miller and Chief Kendall did a dance-off here in City Hall. And if you want the video, just let me know. I'll send it to you. It was amazing. They did a great job. I appreciate the good sportsmanship with everybody. And I told both of them, you both were winners. So thank you for everything you guys did. You guys were amazing.
Thank you, Lisa. Betsy?
And yes, thank you to Carol Smiley for all her years of service, and we'll do our best to carry on taking care of the animals. And again, congratulations to Dustin Kendall. We're lucky to have you. Part of being a pro-life city is taking care of people with special needs. And as a previous occupational therapist, that's near and dear to my heart. And as y'all have figured out by now, I try to promote things around town that support that. And one of them we have is the Adult Development Center in Shredify. And it is a fantastic service. It's a 501c3. Basically, it's like an adult day treatment. They give them jobs. It's a place to socialize. These are people that wouldn't necessarily get hired elsewhere. So it gives them, I think we all get, hopefully, some sense of self-esteem and satisfaction from a job well done. And they help provide that, like I said, in the socialization and the place to gather. And Colin Blakely's in charge of it, and he does a great job. It's a nonprofit, 501c3, and they always need donations. They always need help. They've got a website, and you can donate on their website. They're working on the website, kind of updating it, so there'll be more information over time. They also are always looking for work. I know Lazy Boy has them do some work for them. Gates has had them do work. There are lots of different jobs that they can do, and some of them are pretty skilled at the things they do. So any businesses, anybody out there, just keep that in the back of your mind. It can be a big job, it can be a little job, it can be long-term, short-term, whatever you've got. They also, which a lot of people don't realize, or I didn't realize, I should say, is they do Shredify. They have a paper shredding business. It's 60 cents a pound. After each 50 pounds, it goes down. I'm not sure, it's not going to go down to zero. I'm not sure how low it goes. But they have bins and different storage containers. So if you have a business, you can get one of those and just throw all the things you need in there to be shredded, and they'll come pick it up. They'll take care of it. If you just have, maybe you don't have to keep your tax information anymore and you want it shredded, you can take it there and they will do it. And it's cheaper than anywhere else around, because I think the closest place is probably Springdale to get things done. So please keep that in mind. Please consider donating. They provide a very valuable service, and they have for a very, very long time. I know close to 30 years ago, when I worked as an OT here, I did some work with them. So I know they've been around that long, if not much longer. So that's the Adult Development Center. They're at 500 North Country Club, just a little ways north from the golf course. So keep that in mind. You can look them up on the web and get their phone number. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. Ken, before I move to you, I think, Alan, you have something you'd like to?
Just real quick, a reminder, if, pre-agenda, if you didn't remember, Chris received a pretty high honor. Chris was selected and awarded a 40 Under 40 award, and that will be on August 13th. There's only 20 seats remaining. I've had a couple people reach out to me and say they want to attend. I need to know by tomorrow at noon to let me know where I can get you a ticket. If you just let Barbara know, she'll get you a ticket. But again, congratulations. And then I was going to update you on the Baylors. The Baylors weren't supposed to be here till November. Then it was October. We got good news the other day. It's early September. So hopefully we'll get those installed and be up and running by the middle of September. When we do that, I'd like to have a ribbon cutting and invite the board to come out to look at all the hard work they put out there. So I just want to thank you for that time.
Thank you, Alan. Betsy?
Sorry, one more thing. And I'd like to say thank you for getting the audio visual. I think this is the first board meeting that I haven't received multiple texts that people can't hear or see or they're cutting out. So really, really appreciate that getting taken care of. Thank you.
Absolutely. Ken?
Quickly, Chief Kendall, congratulations. Glad to have you aboard. Send a welcome to the 2 new officers. It's great to have them. Tonight was fun. To me, it just shows there are a lot of good stuff going on around town, and you don't have to look very far. And it's good to be a part of that. I was up here Friday and just watching, and I tell you what, those kids had a blast. Of course, having the dog didn't hurt, but they just had a good time. They had fun, and so I'm looking forward to next year. And lastly, Reed, it sounds like you are trying for the bass lead at the community musical. I hope that goes well. And
This is my radio voice.
yeah, career changes are not a bad thing.
I'm like, well, who voted? What?
I hope it's nothing serious. I hope all is well. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ken. Mindy?
Okay, sorry, I just keep writing notes as people are saying things. It reminds me of things. Did a little research on the JBU Cathedral renovation project. The pews have been installed. There's not that I can find a grand opening, but school does start at JBU on the 26th, and they do have chapel services starting right away. So I'm sure it will be before too long, or it will be pretty soon. Speaking of JBU, just a little tidbit of information here. You mentioned Shredify, and Shredify was actually started by a group of JBU business students several years ago as an Enactus project. And they ended up doing as much work as they could with it, and then it landed in the Adult Development Center. So that's sort of a JBU legacy that I thought was interesting to share. I want to add my thank yous to Carol and just the work that she did on behalf of the city of Siloam. Also, thank you to the staff for the reception. I'm so glad someone mentioned that. I think David mentioned that. I just always appreciated Carol's wisdom, her knowledge, and it may sound silly, but her recall. She just remembered things that had gone on 18, 20 years ago, and she could tell us why decisions were made and what impact they had. So I just really appreciated working with Carol, and I wish her and Doug and their family the best. Congratulations, Dustin. I'm glad to have you officially in your new capacity as fire chief. And congratulations to the SROs too. David mentioned some good reasons for just the benefits of SROs. And one of the things that I always appreciated as a parent of a child in this school district was it just gave me that extra sense of safety. You know, when I dropped my kids off at school and I saw the SRO officers there, it provided that extra level of safety. So I'm very happy that we have that program. We had another successful First Friday, so once again, I want to thank all those that take part in that and that set up and stay through the whole hot, evening. They are hot. It just so happens that it seems that every first Friday that we've had has been one of our hotter days of the week. So I just appreciate the work they put into that. Glad Alan mentioned, Jay, thank you to you and your staff. It's been very helpful having your advice and wisdom as part of these board meetings. While I'm thinking, I want to thank the Planning Commission for all the work that you all do. You all do a lot of the preliminary work that helps us in making the decisions that we make, and I don't think we give you enough credit for that. And so I just want to, you can pass that on, Kevin, to the Planning Commission. And I know the others feel the same way. Let's see, thank you to Chris and your staff for the slides. I think that is going to be helpful going forward. And you mentioned a couple times, oh, this is the first night, we're learning some things, and that's the way it is. You know, it'd be a boring world if we didn't learn from our mistakes and be able to move on from there. So it's an opportunity, but thank you. It's going to be really good. Already was good tonight and helpful. And also congratulations, Chris, for your honor. Let's see. The only other thing, maybe a strange thing to end on, is the road improvements. I appreciate the update on Lake Francis. I appreciate the completion of the Sager Creek Road. We are over there a lot because we have some properties over there, and it was really nice having that done. And just a little history. I lived on Dogwood when Dogwood was widened and the sidewalks were put in. And I remember thinking at the time, when is this ever going to be done? Or David, you know what I'm talking about. When is this ever going to be done? But once it was done, it was awesome. So it's painful, kind of like childbirth is painful, but then you've got this great little baby and great little road to deal with afterwards.
That's
Only
when they were
problem with
wanting to
it-
do a 6-foot sidewalk, and I thought it was too wide. And it wasn't, but you don't know it at the
Exactly.
time.
I know. And we were just right there on Dogwood. But anyway, I understand, I can sympathize with those of you that are having to go through that right now over on Lake Francis. I get it. But you will enjoy it once it's done. Just bear with us for a little while longer. And then, kind of like childbirth too, you'll forget what a pain it was for a while. You'll just enjoy the new road. Just don't speed on it. That's the only problem with the nice new roads is, and it's a little easy to go a little too fast on them. So with that, I will move that we adjourn this meeting.
Okay.
Before we do.
Or not.
Before we adjourn, we did not address the Oklahoma water of the board.
Yeah. I nominate Lisa and Ken to be on that board. I watched the meeting. That's what was decided, right?
I spoke incorrectly at pre-agenda. That comes from the, Judy, Miss Judy is the president of that board, so she can make nominations. If they accept, then we got a little business to do after that, really briefly.
So.
So
if-
it's to you, Judy, to make 2 nominations.
Okay, then I will nominate, as suggested, Ken and Betsy, Lisa, I believe is who she's.
Or Betsy.
I mean. Betsy has this look on her face like, what? Yeah, Ken and Lisa.
Betsy, we lucked
So-
out because we weren't here the other day.
Would you all accept that nomination?
Yes.
They will accept that nomination, so I guess from there, then we
No.
will have documentation to,
Yes, now that they've accepted, we have 3 on the board, so if you 3, with Renee's retirement, I need a new clerk to sit on that board. So if you, I don't
And I
know how you
believe-
do that business, Judy, I'm gonna turn that over to you.
I believe that would be Janae, that we
Janae.
would appoint to that position. Yes, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Since she is our current city clerk,
He doesn't get a choice.
and she doesn't get a choice. That's- We've
And
already
Mayor, with
discussed that.
And I meant to say that too, Janae's really hit the ground running. She is really busy, especially this time of year, this week. I haven't got to see her very much because she's been in her office counting and making sure all the petitions, everything are right, but she's doing a really good job. I couldn't be happier with her in that position.
She really is. Every time I call her and ask her, she's able to answer my question, and we move right on. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. So, with that, we now have our 2 new members of our board, and our city clerk is now our secretary. And if there's nothing else,
Is that an all in favor? We have to say.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed? All right. So,
To the
yes, Betsy.
adjournment.
And I will move again. Uh-oh.
Wait, I know,
Betsy has something to say.
I hate to drag this out any further,
No, go on.
but I have been asked by citizens, why is there a board in Oklahoma? What's the point of that? Why? So can
What
you
is this?
just explain that, please?
You want to hit that, Jay?
Jay?
Sure. Madam Mayor, there is a board in Oklahoma because there's a corporation in Oklahoma that owns quite a bit of land, including the intake structure for the city water. So it's important for us to maintain that Oklahoma corporation. It does business in the state of Oklahoma and helps maintain the water that comes to the city.
And please correct me if I'm wrong. We as a city aren't allowed to own that land? Is that why we have to have a board and a corporation?
I think that was a recommendation by prior council several years ago. We hired a firm out of Kansas City, and they helped the city set up that structure. And in fact, the previous Oklahoma Water Corporation was around, I don't know, in the 1950s and before, so it's been there a long time, that general structure.
Okay, hopefully that makes things clear as mud for people, so.
As far back as I can go, that board's always been made up of current board members.
Okay.
But originally, the Illinois Water Development Corporation did not have the mayor included. And because when I was mayor, the mayor was like not included, but the entire board was. And then it got transferred to Siloam Springs Water Resource Company, I think was the new name of the company. But I mean, the basic gist is we own land in Oklahoma, we got to have a corporation in Oklahoma. So that's what it comes down to.
And our plan, just for the board knows, once the election's finalized, Miss Judy wants to add, the mayor wants to add an at-large where we always have someone on that board with the 3 open positions possibly for the election. Once that election's finalized, she will name another at-large member.
Yes, sir. That is correct. So now, Mindy,
Yes, please.
Third time's a charm,
the
huh?
floor is yours.
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Have a second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.